Well, I said I should probably share a little bit more of my story and how I got to the place that I am today. And typically when it's time to sit down with the girlfriends, we sit down with a little bottle of something and then we get into it. So I am inviting all of you ladies to bring all of your baggage and come take a ride with me today. Hello and welcome to Ladies Listen Up. I am your host, Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. So as I said before, I'm inviting all of you into my home just to get a taste of what it's like to be in the presence, if you will. And when I am talking about ideas, when I am enjoying myself with my girlfriends, family, when it's time to really get into some stuff, I welcome people into the dining room. And it's the table where everything goes down. Now, there is a kitchen table. There's a kitchen table where we talk about other things, but if we're coming here to join as one, put ideas on paper, really start getting into some other things. If the weather is nice, we'll go out to the patio. If the weather's not so nice, we'll be at the kitchen table right by the bar. Now, you don't have to drink anything. You can definitely have water or orange juice, any other kind of fruit juice, or a non-alcoholic beverage. We have that too. But this is where I sit down and get into the nitty-gritty. So how did I get to this place? That's the topic today. Well, yes and no. It's not the topic today. Let me talk about real quick. Let me just turn this around really quick. Let's get into why we're here today. We're carrying some baggage. Every single person is carrying some baggage. Every single person is carrying some baggage. And I immediately think of 𝐅𝐢𝐳 𝐵𝐴Du's Bag Lady. That's what I'm talking about. And I think to myself, I loved the song when it first came out. I loved the song, the remix, all of it. Never thought that I'd be one of those bag ladies. Never considered it. And then, life has a way of making you sit down and really be open and honest about what's going on. Now, I'm not going to even sugarcoat how we got here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and shout out my baby brother for holding me accountable and call me on my BS, because everybody needs somebody in their life, at least one person, to call them on the BS. Let's just go ahead and call it, right? We all need that one person. That was my baby bro. So let me introduce the topic. I need you all to grab your bags, put them at the door, and let's talk about it. Bag lady. Okay, hopefully you guys got something, because you may need something. I don't know. But let me start. Because when people see you, they don't always see what you've gone through. I remember recently, I made a post about how all money is not good money. My daddy always told me that. And somebody said, well, you've never dealt with poverty, otherwise you wouldn't say that. Okay, correction, I have dealt with that. And even with that, I can tell you all money isn't good money. So how did I get to a place of, in 2009, September through 2009, I was homeless. I had most of my items, clothing really, in my Camry. And I was underemployed and I was depressed. I mean, I was messed up. And I thought to myself, I don't even know how I got here. I didn't know, but I did know. And again, that's where the baby brother comes in and says, you need to own what's yours. So let me just get into how I ended up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is my story. I'm going to make it really short for all of us. And you may have something similar in your life as well. But I was in New York City, living my life, single chick, in my apartment, fairly nice job for a single person in New York City because I didn't want any roommates. I was able to not have roommates and afford where I was living. But somewhere in the back of my head, I kept telling myself, I'm supposed to be married and supposed to be trying to make this family life thing work. And all these ideas of what was supposed to be. And so I started making decisions to force something to happen that was never supposed to happen. It just wasn't. So we're talking 2008, 2009, and I started dating a guy that I had worked with at some point, which I never do, right? Like if we're working together, we're not dating, right? But he had left, and I thought, okay, well maybe it's not so bad. He seemed to be a pretty cool guy. But then you get to know people, and then you realize this really isn't working, but we force things because it feels as if it's the way out. This felt like the way for me to get what I've been trying to get, right? What everybody was telling me, and I say everybody in air quotes, was telling me that I'm supposed to be doing at that age. And so I remember coming to Dallas to look for a job. And mind you, we're talking like the financial crash is happening, since it's really not the best time to be moving. But I thought, okay, it's going to work out. Stayed at his house and nothing happened. Like, just nothing happened until after I got back to New York. But I was making these stories to sort of create a life that didn't exist. Like, I was going to stay in his house, live in his house. You know, we had started dating, and I was forcing stuff that just wasn't necessarily where my heart resided. It just wasn't there. And I understand that a number of us make decisions and we force ourselves into relationships and jobs and roles that don't really suit us. We just do it. We do it because everybody says we should be doing it, right? So we get to it. Gwendolyn has packed up her stuff. I've told all my friends that I am leaving, and you know, there's tears and all that kind of stuff. And I had my last hurrah, exploring New York City and everything. Like, it was, you know, it was big. I don't even have a license, okay? So let me tell you, we're talking like a big move here. But in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to make this work. Like, I'm going to make this work. We're going to create this family, this household together. I remember picking out like paint colors and stuff. Like, you know, I was really getting into it. I was telling myself these lies, because we tell ourselves some lies. And then I get here, I get to Houston, and I can't find him. I can't find this man. Like, I don't know what happened. I still don't know to this day what happened. We're not looking for answers. Let me make sure I'm clear about that. But I didn't know what happened. And I'm like, okay, so we're supposed to be together, and I have stuff moving. I'm currently on the road from New York City, and I don't know. So I go to the house. I remember going to the house, and I can see somebody in the house, but it's not him, it's somebody else. And I just left a message on the door saying, hey, I need to know where this dude is. Like, I don't understand. And so I just get this text message about how, hey, he's got some stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. No word, no nothing. Now, I could say I was ghosted. Technically, I was ghosted. But I was like, this is different. And when I say to this day, have not heard, have not heard. But in the meantime, there was an associate who said, hey, you can stay with me. And mind you, I am coming back to Texas with no really support system. Like, I knew people in the area, but it's not like family, right? So I don't have any kind of backup plan. I bought my car with a driver's permit. I had a little bit of funds left, but you gotta know, in order for you to get like an apartment and stuff, you need income. Gwendolyn didn't have any income. Like, the full-time job was ending. The part-time job that I didn't even know I was going to find hadn't started. And so not only do we not have any income, I don't have any insurance. Like, there's nothing. Hey, love does not put food on the table. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And all I could think was, oh my goodness, what have I done? So it was bad. Like, my mother was concerned about me when I was home in Houston, because I literally stayed in my room for like 3 days, didn't shower, didn't hardly eat. It was bad. Like, we were depressed. And mother, being the missus, said, look, I gotta talk to you. What's going on? Because you haven't showered. What's the deal? We got problems in here. So like I said, I got myself together, got a driver's permit, drove to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the slow lane. Because again, I had never been on the highway like it. No. And so she said, you'd come stay with me. But it was quick. Within like days, she was asking, hey, when are you getting your apartment? Like, it was clear that my idea of taking time to get settled was not her idea of taking time to get settled. It was, oh, you can stay like a day or two, but you can't stay here. Okay. So, you know, without even talking about it, I got up one morning and I grabbed all of my stuff, put it in the car, and I just called it a day. I was like, okay, so clearly I'm not welcome here. But now I'm thinking, where do I go? Like, I don't have any other place to go. So I called my mother saying, hey, do you have anybody in this area who could put me up for a little bit? Like, anybody. And she was still preaching at the time, and she had parishioners in the area. And so I was able to sleep in a bed and take a hot bath. And, you know, you just don't realize how good you have it until you don't have it. Like, I remember being on my lunch break, making these phone calls to my mama, right? I'm making these phone calls to my mother to say, hey, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. And at the exact same time, on this lunch break where I'm working underemployed, right? So just a quick little idea. I was making almost $70,000 a year. And when I returned back to Texas, because they just couldn't do anything else, I was given $12.50 an hour. Now that's a big decrease, people. That's the kind of stuff that drives you into depression. So it's not just the loss of money, right? Like your salary, but it is the loss of stability. Knowing that you have some place to go, you have food. Like my lunches were $1 slice of pizza at Tom Thumb, which is a grocery store, and $1 or $1.25 like soft drink that I could get, and that was it. It was like, okay, this is it, because we're not getting anything else. So it was a blessing that she had parishioners in the area who would fix dinner and be like, hey, come on to the table, let's eat. You don't really understand. I don't believe people understand until it happens to you, because at that point you're like, okay, now what? Like gas for the car? Oh my goodness. You know? Gas for the car, food in your belly, a place to sleep, like the bare necessities of life. You don't really get it until it's not there anymore. Now, it just so happens that a dear friend, who's like a sister, an older sister, lived in the area. She lived in Arlington. And I got in contact with her, and she had to go to Houston, take care of a sister. And in talking with her, she's like, you know what, you can come to the apartment. I have an extra bedroom. I was like, oh, really? The relief to be someplace stable. man, like you don't forget that feeling, which is why I'm tearing up. You don't forget the feeling of the stability to be able to cook and take a shower, wash your clothes. That's huge. It is like major. If there was ever a time where I learned to be grateful, it was that time. And sometimes, like my brother, he was talking to me about my situation. And I remember him saying, you can't put all of this on this one person. You have to own your part of the foolishness. These are conscious decisions that I made. All with the idea of forcing something that was never there. I did it. We had these other motives that were not genuine. And I believe for that is probably why you get what you deserve. Now, I know it sounds harsh, but this is just where I am with my own life. This is my own life, right? And so this is where I was. And I thought, okay, Gwendolyn. Now you say to yourself, okay, well, how does all of this impact where you are today? The baggage. Like I said, I got married. But I was still really tied up with the idea of ever losing my home again. That I held on to that key. When I was with my friend, when I stayed in her home, I slept on her leather sofa for almost 4 years. I refused to buy furniture. I refused to get comfortable in the apartment, minus using my cookware that I already owned and keeping some clothes, but my furniture and stuff, all of that was in storage. I didn't want to get comfortable because I didn't want to accept my current situation. Like I remember waking up from an alert from Chase Bank, the IRS, not the IRS, take it back because they did other stuff. They didn't take a lien. It was the state of New York. State of New York put a lien on my checking account. I only had like $120, right? They took all that little $120. They took all of it. I was like, God damn it. Yes, they took all of it. And I won't lie and say that I never considered suicide. I consider suicide. And there are a lot of people who consider suicide when they are in financial dire straits and they just can't see a way out. It can get really dark. It can get really, really dark. Mind you, this is happening when there are other things happening in my family. People are dying. And it's interesting that my thought of committing suicide came after another family member committed suicide due to financial stress, right? Like sometimes it gets so dark, you can't see your way out. But this again is where I say there is help for that. There is help. Let me just say this. I don't care how long it's been. You don't forget certain feelings and you don't forget certain stresses. We are not where we were. We're not even close to where we were. Which is why I speak about advocacy and community and financial planning, like all the things. Keep in mind, my background, I was second in my class in high school. I was an early decision student at NYU. Like I was already in fall senior year. I was like done. I was accepted. So that and other colleges. So we had this major plan in place. I was a scholar at FIT. Like we were not on the other spectrum of I just don't know any better. None of that has anything to do with the decisions we choose to make, consciously choose to make. Nothing. But let me tell you some positives, like, because I'm telling you to bring your baggage and to check it. And so now let's talk about doing the work. So we're going to go right to it. The plus of the company I worked for, and they were able to find me a part-time spot, like I said. I would be a liar still if I told you that I didn't feel some kind of way about the guy who brought me back at $12.50 an hour. Knowing I was worth way more than that, but whatever. I don't care how much counseling you have. You will feel the way you feel about people. So there you go. Honesty. But what was great about the company is they had an employee assistance program that offered counseling. They offered therapy sessions, right? If that is your situation, take advantage of it. If it's not your situation, figure out for where you are, your city, your state, whatever, where you can find a counselor or a therapist to help you work through some of your baggage. And it takes time. Like, this is not I had a conversation, I'm over it. There's a lot. I mean, one is to recognize where you are and what you're doing and how you got here. It is so easy for a number of us to blame everybody else for what is happening around us. Extremely easy. That's the easy way out. Is to say, because of this person, this isn't working. It is easy to not see yourself as the person who is driving the bus. This is your vehicle. Your life is your vehicle. If you don't put the foot on the gas pedal, nothing's moving, okay? So I recognize that the decisions I made, those are my decisions. I was conscious in these decisions. I had this whole other motive. Probably wasn't the most, okay, it was not the most genuine. All right, whatever. And stuff happened because of it. Were they blessings? Yeah. Sometimes you have to get knocked down to figure out what really matters to you. So no, I don't go out and do a lot of stuff because none of that stuff's matter. It's why I say often, as my mom has told me, there is no U-Haul following a hearse. There is no need to be out here hustling and bustling to leave all of this stuff behind for someone else to fight over or whatever. We are here today and gone tomorrow. So I learned to cherish that. And then I also think to myself, I do appreciate the day, right? Like I look at policies and laws I had not considered. Like I said, I didn't have healthcare. I was in between the full-time, didn't start the part-time, and ended up with bronchitis. You know how much bronchitis medicine costs when you don't have help, when you don't have any insurance? Just seeing the doctor at like the CVS Minute Clinic was not cheap. My parents came through for me. And I am blessed to have had parents who can help me get through these tough times. My dad on the down low was like, hey, do you need a little change? My mama on the down low, you need any gas money? I appreciate them both coming on the down low. But Pops covered my insurance, my car insurance, for a good maybe 2 years, year and a half, something like that. And I had never missed a car payment because I never had a car. And I was freaking out about my car being repo. People were like, no, you gotta be really deep in the red for that. I was like, oh, this is okay. And news to me. But yeah, it was all news to me. News to me, put me on the brink, but I'm gonna tell you for the last time, as we put this all together, don't sleep on counseling. Your family, your friends, they are great as an ear, but they are not licensed to help you walk through all the baggage that you are carrying. And we are carrying some baggage. Please don't think that you don't have any. These traumas, they stay with us. And even once you get through it, like I don't say get through, but once you come to terms with it, wrap your arms around the foolishness, and I learned to come into a new relationship and not bring the baggage with me, because my husband is not like all the other guys I have dated. And I don't believe that every man or every woman or every person does blah, blah, blah. Like I don't have that. I don't have that. We are all individuals going through a certain stage of life. And he met me at one of my best stages. I'm getting better, like fine wine. And I met him at a certain stage in life, and we have grown together, right? So we're not carrying that baggage. Now, do little things pop up? Little things do pop up. Every now and then, little things pop up. But I know how to handle those things. I don't get stuck in the chaos. I don't stay there. My advice to you, as we talk about doing the work, as I implore you to find your person to help you put down your baggage. So as we work through all of our traumas, triggers, foolishness, as we work to let go of the baggage, I don't care how nice that baggage is, okay? I wish upon you the resources to find yourself a therapist or a counselor to help you work through whatever it is you have to work through. And we all have something we have to work through, trust. It's not a bad thing. You know, to be these better versions of ourselves, sometimes it can require a little bit of extracurricular activities. But I will say this to you. Out of everything that you do, it is worth it. Share your story. Recognize what you have. Get you a journal. But more importantly, if nothing else, give yourself the space and grace to grow and learn.